Hare Krishna, the 13th shloka from the second chapter. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Right? So Krishna says that how the body transforms from a child to a boy and a youth, and then the middle age, then the old age. Similarly, the soul also passes into another body after death. And a sober person is not bewildered by such a change, right? So a knowledgeable person is not bewildered by such a change, right? He does not fear changes like the when one passes from one body to another body, right? Purport: since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at the death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. So here we get to know that Bhishma and Drona had to die to spiritually elevate in the next life, right? Finally, we get to know that they will be passed on to a good spiritual life, right? Because they followed their dharma so strictly in the present or their present lifetime. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of supreme souls being unchangeable. As uh, confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portion of the supreme exists eternally, sanatana, and are called kshara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledgeable with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul, who is present in each and every individual body. and is known as the Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represents both sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities, and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then the relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are diluted by the illusionary energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity. Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. Alright, so it's a clear meaning, and we get to know how we are a fragmental piece of the Supreme Lord in this shloka, and how one passes on to a different spiritual level after the death. Right after the death, how the soul takes a new body according to his work in his lifetime. Right, so that's what the shloka meant. Stay connected for the further shlokas. Till then, Hare Krishna.